The following is a Podbeard production.
From the deepest bowels of your imagination.
Actually, he's from Canada there, bud.
From the famed Hodder Show studios, this is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are rolling out here today on episode 220 of The Hodder Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I got a kick-ass episode for you here today, as I try to do every single week here on The Hodder Show. I am joined on the show today by the guys in Zaftig, a badass garage prog slash psychedelic prog rock band from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. They got a really unique sound and a really kick-ass sound, kind of a little bit of that old school rock and roll soul to it, with some kind of newer rock elements and unique things that only they can do. So I know you guys are going to really enjoy this episode, and you should definitely check out their EP if you have not yet, Flight of the Mingos, which we hear about where that name came from, as well as the name Zaftig. It is a very unique name. And we also, of course, talk about their influences, what got them into music, the forming of the band, the writing of that first EP with some names that are actually familiar on the show because they've been brought up before, as well as playing with some different local bands. They give a bunch of different shout-outs to a lot of kick-ass bands you guys should check out. And it's just a really fun time. You know, I went to their place. It was, I think, like maybe the third or fourth time I've ever done a podcast not at my place, so it was very fun to do that. I did record very differently from how I usually record, so if the audio quality is not quite the same, that's the deal on that, but I think it sounds spectacular. I don't think you guys are even going to notice if I didn't tell you, but I just wanted to let you know on that. It was very hot that day when we were recording, so I think there's a couple times we bitch about the heat, but that's just, that's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. That's just, I've been wanting to get these guys on for a while. So when the opportunity came up, I had a free day on a weekend, which never happens ever. So I was like, boys, let's make it happen today. So it was a hot as hell day, but we still had a lot of fun. Big shouts again to those guys for welcoming me into their humble abode to do this podcast. I had a lot of fun and hanging out with their cats and so forth. And I want to thank you listening right now for your support by clicking the play button. If you are regular listeners of my show, then welcome back. Hope you're doing fantastic. And I hope that you enjoyed last week's episode of the show with my boys in Beguiler, who actually get a little shout out in this episode as well. That was a fun chat, and thank you guys for the support on that. If this is your first time listening, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, let me know what you thought of this episode, and check out some of my past other episodes. I have a lot of kick-ass bands on the show, not just metal bands and rock bands, but I've had a couple other great musicians on that are outside of the rock and metal world, which is kind of my bread and butter here on the show. That's what I like. But someone like a Frankie Wood, who I gave a shout out to in this episode early on, who is he's kind of in that like kind of singer songwriter pop kind of indie genre. And then of course my buddies in the Skidoos, who are a ska band, who I think I also give a shout out to in this one. We cover a lot of ground. It was a fun episode, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. But before we jump into it, I want to take a second to give a quick shout out to my friends over at Seat Giant. Now, if you guys are looking for tickets to any kind of music, theater, sport, or family event, you need to go on seatgiant.ca or .com, depending on where you are listening from today. They have tickets for all different types of events at competitive pricing, whether you want to sit up in the nosebleeds but just be there to experience the show, or you want to be right front row center for all the action. They have you covered with great pricing. And if you are not sure where you want to sit and you want to kind of have a little map to see where exactly you're going to be sitting, they have that for you. And I personally love that because I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Super easy to use website. You're not going to get lost or any of that kind of thing. There's no hidden fees. Everything is very upfront. And they genuinely do care about these events because they know how much they mean to you. They know that you're spending your hard-earned dollars to be entertained. So they want to make it as easy as possible for you. And on top of that, if there are any issues with the event in question, say, for example, your tickets don't work or the event was canceled and the venue isn't issuing a refund, so long as you have proof from the venue that something went wrong, they will give you a full refund. And let me tell you, folks, as someone who got screwed over from that before, there was nothing worse than not being able to get your money back for something you did not receive. It is the worst feeling. You're not going to get that with Seat Giant because they are good people. Honestly, I wouldn't have them on the show as a sponsor if they weren't. So go on seatgiant.ca or .com today. And while you're at checkout, go ahead and use the coupon code PODBEARD. That is PODBEARD BEARD, Podbeard, to save yourself a little something. That check out. Who doesn't like to save money? And also it helps your friends out here at Podbeard Network, and of course myself at the Hodder Show. Means the world to me. Thank you guys so very much. Go on Seat Giant today, because at Seat Giant they just don't sell tickets, they sell experiences. And with that out of the way, we're ready to jump into this podcast, my chat with the guys in Zaftig. Let's get into it. Pretty sweet. This is like I think maybe the third or fourth time in 3 years, and I'm actually on location at the house of the guys from Zaftig.
The Zaftig Manor.
Zaftig. That's good. What is there like a word for houses that starts with a Z? I'm trying to think.
Zeus.
Zeus. There you go.
The
Zaftig Zeus.
The Zanshin.
The Zanshin. So why don't we go through, everybody? Why don't we go around the room and everyone tells us who you are and what you do?
I'm Mark. I play guitar, flute, and I do some singing for Zaftig.
Beautiful. I'm Evan, and I play bass.
Bassman.
I am Mike, and I play drums. That's what I do.
Beauty. And this is Zaftig, not Zarftig or
Zaftig.
Zaftig.
No soft dick.
Soft dick.
Soft dick.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Soft dick.
Soft dick. That's good. No, that's your guys like 80s hair metal cover band.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Steel Panther, you got Soft Dick, you know, it's
Yeah, when we get old and we need to change it up, new gimmicks.
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna need that blue chew. That's beautiful. So how you guys doing today? What's everybody up to on this fine Saturday morning?
I just woke up about half an hour ago. And then drove over here.
Of course you did.
I woke up a little late. I got drunk last night.
Sweating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's a hot one
Yeah,
today.
it is fucking hot.
But that always is. Sometimes being in an environment that is uncomfortable can lead to great things music related, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
You gotta sweat a little bit.
Yeah, isn't that? I think it was Lars Ulrich. He used to always talk about like him and his friends would like play in their basement. And they'd like turn up the heat to like all the way up, and they'd sweat.
Oh shit.
It wasn't even about playing the instruments; they just had to sweat. I'm like,
Psychopath.
why would you want to do that?
Fuck that. What the hell?
Let's sweat a bunch, guys. It's like, yo, what?
That
Playing
sounds
a
pretty
sauna.
crazy.
So I know you guys, and we're going to cover a lot of ground today. I want to ask about like influences and guys getting into music. Obviously, of course, the record and a whole bunch of stuff. But speaking of being hot and sweating and stuff, I know I'm not going anywhere with this. I know you guys did a little bit of a mini tour earlier this year, did you not? So where exactly did you guys go, and kind of how did that all go with you guys being in a van together for a few days?
It was sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
it went
well.
way better than I thought it was going
Yeah,
to.
we started in Montreal, and we went through a whole bunch of places, St. John's, and did all like New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, and we went over to PEI and to Charlottetown and
Got some
did
potatoes.
I didn't get any
Actually,
potatoes.
didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Did anyone
There's a
get
lot
any
of
lobster?
potato farms. There's a potato museum.
We didn't get
Potato
lobster.
museum.
Yeah, I think that's all they really got there, you know.
Lots of potatoes.
Yeah, man. And it was a good time. We all enjoyed ourselves, and
Yeah.
no one killed each other.
Yeah, this
It
was
was
so nice.
no AC in the van that
It was
killed
hot.
us though.
Sleeping in the van.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleeping in the van with no AC.
So how'd you guys do the whole like I'll talk to bands and some of them like, yeah, like this guy is our permanent driver, and then this guy always rides shotgun, and this guy's always sleeping in the back because he's cranky. Is there like, someone who's kind of always the wheel man, or how's that-
Mark
how you
is
guys
the
work that?
wheel man,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm the sleeper.
It's always the bassist, man. It's always the bass players I hear are the wheel guys, or the
No.
mature ones.
Yeah. I don't have my full license yet, so Mark was stuck with driving, and he doesn't like driving in other people's cars, so
Yeah, no, I got a little bit of a fear of being a passenger.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
little
I won't
sketchy.
let anyone drive.
Trust yourself with a wheel in your hands, right?
Yeah, I'll die by
I'm
my
the
own
same.
hand.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, I'll drive. No, it's good. I'll drive. Don't
got
worry
the
about it. That's badass. So did you guys have any shows along the way that were like kind of stand out as like shows that you really really enjoy playing, or places you really enjoy playing?
Pink Flamingo was sick. We got it on a bad day, but it was like the coolest venue.
Is that
Yeah.
where's that at? Is that insane?
It's in Moncton.
Moncton, yeah.
Why do I feel like someone? Is it like it's like all like pink interior and like it's kind of funky?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super funky.
Shout outs to Frankie Wood, I believe. I think he played there. Frank's been on the show a couple times. I remember him telling me about this place, the Pink Flamingo.
Yeah.
This badass place with
Dude,
like
it's sick.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty cool place.
Pinball machines.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it was definitely that place.
lasers. And it was awesome.
Yeah, that was a really cool place. Montreal, our first stop was a
Yeah, that was
a
a
turn.
good.
It was a good turnout. It was a good way to start the tour. And
Yeah, we saw a car crash on the first
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Well, that's not even that
Gnarly.
weird.
Some
for
guy
Montreal,
just
though.
smoked a light, and we are like, okay, that's fucking. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's get out of the city. Goddamn.
yeah,
That's
got a
just
little,
Montreal, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's badass. How'd you guys like? Where'd you guys play in Nova Scotia?
Halifax.
Yeah, we did Halifax. I think that was our only stop in Nova Scotia. It was foggy when we were leaving. It was like really dangerous when we were leaving.
Yeah,
it was
that's
like
fair.
Yeah.
That's just Nova Scotia.
yeah, being close to the water.
Yeah.
We didn't see any Trailer Park Boys related stuff either, which is kind of sad. But
You see any meese? Any meesey?
no,
No moose. That's
not a moose. I was hoping. we might
hoping.
see a moose.
Through the fog.
I did not want to
Oh
see a
my
moose
God.
because we would have died.
when it. So was it? I know it was earlier this year, but was it? Why do I want to say it was like spring?
May
like
31st.
That's okay.
Yeah,
May
first week of June, basically. Yeah.
I'm way off. I don't know why I thought it was. We were literally talking
Yeah.
because we've been talking about. It's the famous story with me. I always say like, "Oh, it's been a while. I want to get these guys on."
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, remember you saying to me like, "Oh yeah, we're going." I was like, "Oh cool, yeah." Well, I don't know why I thought it was spring, but that's just my brain.
Yeah, I think that's like late spring, right around.
Close enough. Thanks for the save. I appreciate it. That's badass. So, as far as right now with what you guys are doing, before we kind of rewind and go back a bit in your guys' musical careers and lives, is there anything kind of going on right now that you guys are really excited about? You want to talk about, or like as far as like any upcoming shows? Is there any more tour plans right now? Or are you guys just kind of
Just a lot of writing right
writing
now.
and
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of music that we still got to put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been writing a lot and just like working that out. We got a jam space downstairs now, so we've been really getting like crafting new stuff. And we also have a few shows, but like everything's been pretty chill after our tour. We got one at the music hall August 9th with Heart Attack Kids and a Victory Marked.
Nice.
And then the week after, we're in Toronto at Cherry Cola's with Moontan.
Moontan.
Yeah,
Fucking sick.
They're a great
badass
band
Oh,
in
they're
Winnipeg.
so sick.
Yeah.
it's cool when like someone mentions a band and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. No, they're really good. So that's gonna be a good little bit.
Damn, that's badass. I'm very much looking forward to that, guys. So if you're listening to this on, I'm trying to think of when this is going to come out. Not next week, the week after. So it'll be the week of that show. So
Hey,
get your bums. What was it again? One more time.
August 9th at the Music Hall with
Music
Heart
Hall.
Attack Kids, and we got tickets available for
Hit
anyone
'em
who's
up, guys.
interested.
Let me make sure before we move on that that's actually going to. I'm pretty positive. This is what happens here sometimes, folks. I'll like okay, so that'll be on the 1st.
Hey.
August 1st is when you guys are hearing this. So yeah, it's actually next week is the show. So hit the boys up on I think Facebook and Instagram. Zaftig Band.
Zaftig Music, I think,
Music.
for the socials, and then I think our SoundCloud is Zaftig Band.
Maybe that's what I thought of that.
Maybe
I
our
knew it was one.
Gmail is Zaftig Band. As
Well,
well.
Facebook
Makes
is
sense.
just Zaftig.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Soft Dick, you'll find us.
Soft dick. Or that's freaking great. That's
Google
awesome.
soft dick and you'll find
Soft
it.
dick. Just go on Google and type in soft dick.
I promise you'll find me.
You'll find them. It's like this. They look at. Is this Mark's dick? What the fuck am I looking at? That's great. Shaking his head. Oh, God damn it.
Where did we go with this?
Hey man, you give me an inch, I'll take a mile. Okay. That's great. So I always like to ask on this show, how did you guys each get introduced to music? Like, what was some of the first music you ever heard, and what then kind of led you into going, you know what, like I want to, because like there'll be people who are like, you know, oh yeah, I listened to my dad's records, and then eventually I bought this, and it's like they're kind of casual music fans, and there's people like us that always take that extra mile where it's like you buy your first record yourself, and it's like it becomes your obsession. You know, when did that kind of start for you guys, and what was that music for you?
I don't know. Like ever since I can remember, I've been playing music. I had a drum kit before, like I could literally remember.
Wow.
I always had a drum kit. My parents never really liked the music I was into. They were Christian, and I was listening to like some metal stuff. Yeah, I liked Avenged Sevenfold a lot when I was younger. That was the big one when I was younger. And like Tool. Evan got me into Tool through high school. High school was a lot of metal. That's it.
This
and
guy,
I expanded a little more after that.
I tried to get him to listen to Tool for like 2 years.
I made fun
And
of
he
him.
just made fun of me. And then finally one day he was
his
like,
shirt says Tool on it. So you're a fucking Tool. Yeah.
finally
Man,
he
when's that new
listens.
record coming out, bro?
Finally one day he listens to the song. He comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, I listened to that song. It was awesome." I'm like, "Fucking 2 years
Remember what song?
later."
Remember what song it was? I'm just
It was
curious.
46,
46
and 2.
and
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the drum solo. I was like, oh, fuck, they're good.
Yeah.
This is really God damn it.
So you literally have been playing drums like your entire life, eh?
Yeah, I can't remember when I wasn't, honestly.
Did you used to like, you know, play back in the church band and everything when you were a kid?
Yep.
Yeah, I figured.
grew up playing in a church.
Man, that's putting in work too.
Yeah.
Like those church bands, like they don't mess around.
I know.
I used
And
to
it
like
was
make fun of it, but
back in the church, I probably played in front of more people than any band I've been in. There's like 500 people all in the sanctuary, and I'm like a little 7-year-old kid, just like, oh fuck.
literally
Don't look
sitting
at
there
me.
saying it.
Yeah.
Don't swear in the Lord's house. Oh. There's a lot of people here, Mom. Okay. You're in the back in the green room getting ready, snorting pixie dust or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that
when
thing,
I
what
got
was
a
that thing
little
in the
older-
straw? Pixie dust? Yeah. Pixie dust.
I used to get high and go and play all the time. Like, that was more when I
Rock
was
and
like-
roll, bro.
Yeah, when I hit high school, I think my last year I went there was grade 9, and I was smoking a little bit of ganja, so.
Entering the Lord's house. Come on, man. That's unacceptable. You best repent.
He allowed it. He let me in.
He allowed it. He allowed it. Just taking a turn for the worse here, but well, that's badass though. So when you started kind of like getting into Tool and more heavy music, was there kind of any other bands, or even more specifically drummers, that you were just like, holy shit, like these guys are
Whoa.
next level?
The Rev was the first big one. Like
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold.
Classic.
Yeah. And Danny Carey's a big one from Tool. Matt Grainer, August Burns Red. That was another huge one. August was like a massive band for me coming up. And I don't know, not a lot of drummers that like really stand out. It's just more so the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I like your music, if it's got a groove, then I like it, right? But
Which
the
there's-
drummers
yeah.
is, yeah.
Because you have that, like, even like, because like it's kind of like probably the worst kept secret that like you play in a bunch of and have played in a bunch of different bands,
Yeah.
ranging from, you know,
Death metal
death
to like
metal,
hardcore,
deathcore to
yeah.
like, you know, the
Yeah,
stuff
I've
with
been
Lockerbox
around.
and that, and then, you know, now you're playing
Some good old
psychedelic rock.
You gotta evolve.
Yeah, for sure. Like, because you have that groove where it's just like I can hear, like, okay, you can definitely hear the metal groove influence in your playing.
That's what a lot of
Yeah.
people say when they come to our shows, is the drums are very powerful
Mm-hmm.
still. And I don't know, I like that. I really like that.
You got to have it sets you guys apart. Like, there's lots that sets you guys apart, but like one thing, as a more traditional hard rock metal guy, you know, caveman music type stuff, I like that powerful grooves and riffs. And so it's like, if you got a riff and you got good drums and bass and you got a hook, I'm in. I dig it.
Yeah.
So it's, and then also it's like, oh, whoa, what's this like? Is that a flute? What the hell? Like, oh, it's badass. Like, it's just little things like that set you guys apart. So
Yeah, another thing I'd like to announce, I don't give a fuck about Neil Peart, okay? I don't give a fuck.
Everyone-
this interview is over.
Every single person who comes to see us play, after they'll be like, I know you like Rush. I know you like Neil Peart. It's like, I can name 3 Rush songs, maybe.
What are they? I'm curious.
Tom Sawyer, Subdivisions, and The Trees.
That's a random.
Trees.
Wow, I wouldn't have expected the last two.
Well, The
Subdivisions,
Trees
maybe,
is
but not
in
the
Rock
trees.
Band too, so.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, these trees are
You know
pissed.
what? I owe all my drumming experience to Rock Band 2. I think I can say that pretty safely.
I think a lot
I
of
logged
people.
like 300 hours in that game.
Damn.
I used to just play that in my basement all day.
I feel like a lot of people like in kind of like because there's a bit of an age difference between us. So I feel like your guys' generation, because like I was in high school when Guitar Hero came out, the first one. So it's like then like Rock Band was like in high school. So it's like I feel like a lot of people in your guys' kind of age group, that was really what actually cut them into playing, and it's not even that weird.
Yeah.
You know, like people are like, oh no, it's kind of weird, but like I'm like that's what it was meant for, man.
Yeah,
It's meant to get you into
exactly.
music, you know.
Yeah, no, that was a big thing that actually got me out of playing like hockey. Like my family always pushed like sports and stuff when I was really young, and like I always really had an interest in music, but like I always just had different stuff in my life. And I remember there was like different games like Guitar Hero, and one of the ones that got me into music the most was like Guitar Hero Aerosmith. That was like
Nice.
all like classic stuff that I'd never heard before. And literally I remember being like, I don't want to do hockey anymore. Like, I just want to play guitar. And I remember like telling my parents that and saying like, stop paying for the hockey. This is, if you're going to pay for anything, put money towards music. And so it's weird, like you were saying, people do kind of get inspiration through playing something as silly as a game, like Guitar Hero or something.
Or even like a Rocksmith.
Yeah.
Even though I was working in a music store that did lessons when that game came out, and we would see kids come in that, I'm going to go off this random tirade, but like we would see kids come in who were like, yeah, I'm learning how to play some from Rocksmith. And like they couldn't play guitar. No. They'd sit there and be like, okay, hang on. Wait, could you put the game on for a minute? I can play it with the game on. It's like, what? I did come in one time with, he wanted to be a teacher. This guy been playing guitar for like 5 years. Comes in and is like, yeah, I basically learned how to play on Rocksmith. And I'm like, what? Dude, that's worse than the guy who came in and said, yeah, in theory, I can teach guitar. Pulled up a whiteboard and started writing stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this? Well, I can't actually play guitar, but in theory, I can teach it.
In theory, I'll let you
the fuck out.
Let you know everything you need to know. Which one's the orange string again?
Yeah, the orange string. That's why freaking DR. I don't know if you know DR guitar strings, but that's why they did that. They were like, yeah, we're gonna do these multicolored strings
Just for the Rocksmith kids.
They're thinking.
Damn.
So what else, as far as for you, Mark? What else did what was like kind of some of the first music you heard and like that really got you into it to make you go from the decision of, hey, you're kind of playing hockey and doing a bit of athletics to like, I want to do this guitar stuff full time, man.
I always had music around. Like my mom's radio was always on like forever, as long as I can remember. And it's like oldies stuff. Like one of the big ones is Engelbert Humperdinck, which wasn't my fancy as much. It's got some bangers, who knows? But like just some real like classic old stuff, 60s and 70s stuff, and it's stuff I feel like I've always lived with rather than like I discovered later in life. So like I don't know, when I realized that I don't usually like a lot of the new pop stuff, or like when Good Charlotte was big, I was like, this isn't my thing. Or whenever like the young bands that got big and everyone liked around me, I was like, it's just not my thing. And then I found out that I like older stuff or weird psych bands that pop up today, like King Giz or the OCs or something like that. But, yeah, old 60s.
It's funny how like you won't think music influences you like that, like your parents used to listen to. You know, like I used to say that, oh, my mom's music lame. I only like Nickelback, bro. And then like, and that's not a joke, by the way. I used to be obsessed with Nickelback.
Me too. Me too.
It's like, but and then like, you know, as I get older too, it's like I'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh my god, and I'll spend like 2 or 3 days binging on like Gordon Lightfoot or something, or like the Guess Who, and I'll be like, oh man, that's a banger. Like,
yeah, I went to a Christmas dinner and I played Laughing by the Guess Who.
Nice.
My whole family was like, what the fuck? That's like older than I am.
Yeah. How do you know this? It's good stuff, man. Yo, No Time by the Guess Who.
Yeah.
That riff's a banger too.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I almost can't listen to metal anymore. I love that like old 60s calm shit.
There's a certain like soul behind it.
Yeah.
Where it's just it's different. That's like when I hear a band that kind of has that vibe to it, but it's updated. Like when I hear you guys, I get excited because it's like, okay, it has that vibe, but it's not like some of these new rock bands that come out that literally it's like, hey, you are Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You are this. You are that.
Shots fired.
What are you talking about? Man, I've talked a lot of shit on this show about those guys, so I don't even care. But
I'll
like,
say it too. Fuck Greta.
yeah, it's just like,
The
man,
band Feet.
I was a fan until their fucking punk ass singer started going on interviews going, like, I don't even like Robert Plant. I'm
Yeah, I
actually
know.
really influenced
Yeah.
by Steven Tyler.
I know.
Shut up. No, you're not. Oh my god. I did an episode with my mom, like,
If you would have
forever
just
ago.
admitted it,
Yeah, exactly.
like people would have been so much nicer about it.
it's like,
but-
yeah, we love Led Zeppelin.
yeah, he
whatever.
had to play like he wasn't trying to do something that he clearly fucking.
I'm
was.
actually a big fan of Steven Tyler. Really, dude? Really? Like, if he was doing squeals and stuff, I'm like, all right, cool, I can accept that.
Exactly.
But that just pissed me off.
No, man. I'm a huge Steven Tyler fan. That shit wouldn't fly. He's not. He's Plant through and through.
So it's just like, man, like I can't get into it. Oh, they're gonna save rock and roll. I'm like, no. Bands that play rock and roll and have that soul and vibe that sound unique are gonna save rock and roll.
Yeah.
And rock and roll is doing just fine. So
Yeah.
can't kill rock and roll, baby.
Yep. Now there's always going to be some dirty kid with a guitar.
Yeah.
That's it. There's
Exactly.
always gonna be some dirty kid with a guitar. So when did you start? Like I know you talked about like when you got into guitar, but when about did like you really go, okay, this is something that like I really, really want to like take to the next level? And like I know like Mike talked a little bit about like when he was playing in the church band and stuff like that. And as much as some people might be like, oh, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that almost
that's
made me
playing.
want to quit.
Yeah.
Fuck the church.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of really the moment that did it, but I remember even being invited over to a friend's house, and he was playing some computer games, but he had a guitar in the corner, and he's like, do you want to just fuck around on that while I play these games? And he gave me some like tab sheets with like Smoke on the Water and stuff. And I remember it was like a month before he was going to move away, so I got like a month of like fucking around with the guitar. Like it just like I took to it so quick that not long after I had to go out and buy a guitar, and it just seems like a blur. Like for a second, guitar wasn't in my life, and the next second, it's everything, and there was like no going back. Yeah, like I've just been since I was like 10 years old. That's when I made the switch from having an interest in anything to guitar.
Just music. So then I'm assuming because you play flute,
Yep.
that do you have a little bit of a theory background in guitar as well, or?
Yeah, that just interests me so much. Like everything about music just always excites me. It's like time signatures make me so hard. If you could do a crazy time signature,
I bang in 7/4.
yeah,
Back in 7/4.
that offbeat is what
That's a
makes them
t-shirt,
come,
by the
man.
way. I need to see that t-shirt now.
I'll clap your cheeks in 5/4. That'd be such a good shirt.
We should make it.
Yeah.
Should be the next Zaftig shirt.
Yeah.
Oh man, but like the times when you can't even like hear what like you're trying to tap it out, and you're like, I don't even know what these
I don't
people
even
are
know
doing.
what this is.
They're
Yeah.
beyond me. It excites me because it's
Yeah.
like there's a new level that I know I need to work towards.
Yeah.
I need to know how that's done. How did they confuse me like that? It's like a magician being like, how do you just put that wool over my eyes?
Yeah.
Like I need to figure that out. So a lot of theory background, and like with notes and like for like the flute, it came so quick. Like I played it literally like a year. Like when we started the band, that's right when I started playing the flute, and had no clue what I was doing, but I knew the basic theory of like scales and notes and different shit from guitar and piano or whatever, that it just worked so well that I was like, picked it up real quick and started messing around in the band with it.
Well, that's badass. Badass. I always respect the hell out of someone who can do who knows theory, because like I know. I'll be like, it's like, you play guitar? Yeah, man. And I'll just like down tune and be like, dum, gum, gum, gum. Yeah. So it's like, I always respect that musicianship.
Yeah.
And that. So how about you, Evan? When did what was like some of that first music you kind of heard and got into? And then how did you kind of start on this crazy journey of being a rock musician?
I don't. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of like my mom's music, and like Michael Jackson. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, and he actually died on my birthday when I was like a huge fan.
really?
Yeah, June 25th he died. It was really sad.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. And I listened to that, and then like my stepdad got me into a lot of other music like Alice in Chains and Tool and stuff. And I listened to Manson, and then I like started listening to like just punk music, and I like only listened to punk music for a long time. I was kind of blinded by the I gave him all my like he has my like Zeppelin 4 and everything. And
everyone
like,
goes through that phase too, man. Where like it's either punk or it's like grunge or it's like some combination of the two. Yeah,
so that kind of blinded me for a while, and then I just started listening to like a bunch of different stuff. Now I just listen to like Bob Dylan and Bowie and stuff. And like if you told me then that like 10 years from now you're gonna love Bob Dylan, I would be like, fuck off. Like,
Bob Dylan sucks.
Fuck. Yeah.
Can't even write songs.
Yeah. Evan used to have like a 2-foot mohawk.
Yeah. I used to have like a mohawk and stuff. Yeah.
That's when I met him. When he was dating my sister.
Studs and spikes
I
on
dated
his
his
jacket
sister,
and shit.
It's like, ooh, is that a bit of a soft spot? That's the way you were like, yeah, when he was dating my sister.
Drink the pain away.
Yeah. But I didn't start playing bass until I was in grade 7. I played in school. Before that, I just played I played trumpet, and that was fun. And then I started playing bass, and then I stopped playing bass for a while. I didn't play in high school, and then I guess I played with you a tiny bit.
Yeah, we jammed a little bit,
but like barely. And then it wasn't really until a bit before Mark hit me up for Zaftig. Like I started playing more and actually played Rocksmith, and you're talking shit about it, but but I already knew how to play bass, so it's not like I fucking learned from Rocksmith. But and then he messaged me, and that's when I started taking it like really seriously and actually started writing stuff.
Nice, very good. So I know like you talked a little bit. So have you guys kind of like been friends for a while, and then you were like, oh, let's start this band, or like I know like you said you and Mike were friends in high school, and that's like was. You guys
I didn't know Mark
at
all in high school.
Yeah. I knew Mark because I dated his sister, and so I knew him from like high school a bit before I went into high school. So I've known him for a long time, and I know him all through high school. So like he messaged me and asked me to be the bassist, and then like we jammed, and there was someone else, and then I was like, oh, there's someone else that was supposed to be our drummer.
Mike plays drums,
and then I never met him or anything. And then,
you're just like, or we could go with this guy.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, Mike, do you want to just play drums with us for this practice? And then like he came, and then
I tried to sneak into being the guitarist at first. That was my goal because I was so sick of playing drums. And then
I jammed in
Mark's
guitar.
basement. Yeah, I don't play a lot, but I play. And we were jamming in Mark's basement, and I was playing guitar. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the fucking guitarist.
I remember that acoustic jam. Yeah, that was amazing.
It was sick. It was a lot of fun. But then we rented an hourly space, and I drummed for them just because they wanted to jam. And then we jammed one more time after that, and then it was just like, yeah, that's locked. That's how it's gonna go.
You know, when you just get in a room with someone, and that's like I always say to people, like, you know what? It's like, oh, how do you know when you're going to be in a quote unquote good, like successful band? It's like, honestly, and success is measured by how you measure it. You know what I mean? But like, if you can sit down in a room with them and you know right away, it's like, yeah, you know, like a guy would say, oh, who do you think the best drummer in the world is? Well, our fucking drummer. You know, who's the best bassist in the world? Our bassist. Like, you have that confidence in each other, and you know you can go on a little tour and sit in the van with each other with all your smells and your weird sounds. It's like, yo, man, if you clear your throat like that one more time, I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you just get into it, and like that's kind of the vibe I get from you guys, where it's like you're all this. It's like you were kind of like almost like buddies. Like, okay, let's see if we all gel.
Yeah.
And then let's see if we gel musically. That's always the most important thing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, exactly,
I find that ever since I joined this band, because I was in so many metal bands before, the scene is like completely different from when we play shows to when I played shows with the metal bands, right? And it seems like all the other metal bands are like at each other's throats all the time. And it's like the rock bands are so much more laid back. Yeah, it's like if you fuck up on stage, everyone's just kind of like laughing and having a good time, but it doesn't fly like that in the metal scene.
It's a lot more brutal.
Yeah, it's like, don't fucking make me look stupid.
Oh, shit.
And it's not as... I find the rock scene's not as stale. Our metal scene, it's kind of getting more lively again because there's a lot of newer people coming in. But when I first joined, like when I was playing with Crane, for like that first year, it was cool to meet all the people and whatever. But then by the time I joined North Shore, it was just like all the same people.
I get what you're saying.
Incesting other bands,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
It's like they're all like
nothing-
little super groups of all these other.
there was nothing
bands
new
and-
coming into it, right?
I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, our vocalist used to be the vocalist of this band.
Yeah,
and
our
he used to play
drummer's the
bass and do
drummer of
backup
this
vocals in this
band,
band. It's
and-
like, what the fuck? It's only so many people in freaking Durham, man. You
Yeah,
gotta-
exactly.
Mad swapping.
Matt's, yeah. Well, it's like every time I turn around, you play drums for another freaking band. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, what the hell is going on? Well, that's good. That's badass. So I want to ask you guys about the record and kind of writing and when you guys actually really started jamming and kind of get into that. But just for a sec, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the guys in Zaftig.
It's your guy Jaybird here from Jaybird Digital Arts, reminding you to tune in to the Hodder Show podcast. Hell, tune into all of the Podbeard Network shows, and not just because they support Jaybird, but because they're good. And I'll give you a discount on design work if you do. Beat that deal, I dare ya.
Hope that you're enjoying my chat with Zaftig. We're going to get back to them in just a second. But while you listen to this podcast, wouldn't it be great if there's a way you could be compensated for? You could make some moolah while listening to this episode of the show. Well, you can do that by downloading the Podcoin app for absolutely free today. If you are not aware of what Podcoin is, they are an app that pays you in Podcoin while you are listening to your favorite podcast. It's the old adage, wouldn't it be great to get paid for something you're doing anyway? That is what Podcoin is. You can then redeem this Podcoin for such things as Amazon gift cards, Starbucks gift cards, and if you save up a butt ton, you can even get yourself like some spectacular pair of wireless Bluetooth headphones, or you can also use this time to donate money to a charity of your choosing. Or you can do a little bit of both. That's right. You can get a little bit of money on the side for yourself to put towards things like some of those gift cards. And you can also donate a little bit of money to charity. That's what I personally do. I do a bit of both, and it makes you feel good, and you get a little bit of money while doing something you already do. What's not to like? Check out the Podcoin app. Again, it is absolutely free. While you join up, use my code HODDER, that is HODDER, and you'll get 500 Podcoin points absolutely free. And go on and just binge every single episode of the Hodder Show, and that's going to get you a buttload of Podcoin, ladies and gentlemen. So get paid to listen to your favorite podcast today with Podcoin. So back again with the guys in Zaftig.
I'm sorry, Octavian. I love Joey Baca. He's my favorite drummer right now. I totally forgot to say his name. Matt Gartzka's sick. All the new prog drummers.
It's always hard when you're like, when someone's like, who are you influenced by? You're always like,
Yeah, I was thinking more like the old people, right? Like
the old people.
Yeah, the older heads. But I don't know. I like a lot of hip hop now too, like hip hop drums. Chance the Rapper's like gospel beats and Childish Gambino's new R&B kind of stuff. Tyler the Creator's really good. He's got like soul gospel kind of stuff. Groovy, man. That's what it's all about. The groove.
Is there any player for you guys, just before we move on, that like kind of really influenced you guys a lot, or?
Maybe Justin Chancellor from Tool.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, we just suck Tool's dick all day.
Yeah.
All day.
Constantly.
I'm like the least Tool acquainted. I'm learning
Least
to do
coolest
Tool.
too.
But yeah, they're the bigger tools. I'm not the biggest tool. Rush was a huge thing for me. He hates Neil Peart. I'm like a huge Rush kid. I remember getting into that when I was young. That just influenced my playing for the longest time.
And Alex Lifeson is just a very underrated guitar player. Honestly, he is.
That is the most true thing I've heard, man. Like, he really is underrated, and when it comes down, like, he helped my playing so much that, like, I can thank him for, like, almost anything I can do. Although I don't play Rush anymore, like, as, like, when that was, like, all I used to, like, try and cover and play, and I feel like my playing is shit compared to when I was just a Rush head, so I might quit the band soon and just be Rush.
Just join a Rush cover band.
Yeah. Exactly.
We are slow.
We're too slow. We're not a billion time signatures. We need more time signatures.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting
Some of the
there.
new songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
getting
getting, they're getting fucked.
That's it. Well, speaking on the new songs and that, and just songs in general, run me through kind of how you guys, like, you talked a little bit about it earlier, but like what kind of went about with you guys meeting and then joining the band and really diving into how those first couple jam sessions went, and then also when you started actually writing and kind of how that all went about.
Mark just had songs. He was good to go.
He was ready.
Mark just shits fucking gold sometimes, you know? And then we go to the hourly room. At least that's how we used to do it. And then we just bang out. Like, it just came to be, honestly. Mark would show up with material and then it just happened.
Makes it easy, doesn't it? When you got a guy who could just
He got riffs
learn
and
these
then
songs.
I'd groove to it. And yeah, it just happens, dude. It's fucking gold.
Yeah, a lot of these songs were written, like, especially the first record we just put out, the Flight of the Mingos, like, that was all stuff, like, a year before I met and tried to talk to them, those songs were, like, developing, and I was trying to, like, write a little bit, and, like, I knew if you're trying to, like, meet some people to start a group, you should have some songs,
Yeah, it's
something for
best
them
to
to
have
play.
songs, yeah.
And so it just, like, I wrote as much as I could, and it really worked out that, like, I wrote a lot of shit songs, that I got that out of my system, and by the time I was done, I was like, hey, there are actually some decent songs that people got into, like My Boy Evan, and that's why, I don't know, we got to play those songs. Like, there was some songs that were really crap, and I'm glad I didn't introduce them with those songs, and that's why it just keeps happening. Like, we're ahead of the game with, like, the next EP we want to record maybe later this year, that we have so many new songs that we're ready to put out that we've already been playing live.
And you're comfortable with
yeah. And they're, like, just ready to press the button. We just need to get the bank
And
account
then we
ready.
have more songs on top of that
Yeah.
that we're like still kind of tweaking out. Like we have a whole nother EP ready to go. We're just kind of playing with
We're
it.
even playing with the idea, but
we didn't even tell him about that.
yeah, we haven't even talked to you about it, but we're, like, trying to talk to
you heard it here first, folks.
I'm
never
always
here.
the last
Yeah.
one to hear.
But a full length after the EP of doing a full concept, because the songs that we even have right now, that we can scrap some of them or whatever, but we have, like, a full 40 minutes of really good stuff. We've, like, cut a lot of stuff out of it, and this could be released, like, a year, 2 years from now. So, like, in that time, we're just going to keep writing, and anything that we're like, oh, this is better than that, we'll just cut that one out. And so we're good for a little bit.
You've got
stress.
stuff, which is good, because a lot of bands, they'll have the opposite problem. They'll be playing all these shows, everything will be going great, but then they won't have any new material, or they'll have this old material that they get. The one thing that it upsets me so much with local bands, quote, I'm doing air quotes, you guys can't see it, but they're like, oh yeah, this is our demo, our EP, we're very proud of it. And then next year, oh fuck that EP, we're not playing songs with that anymore, we're gonna do this now. And it's like, guys, you can't do that. Like, you can't get me into your music and then go, yeah, we don't play that song anymore, it's old. And I'm like, yo, I love that song still. Like, well, we've been playing it for a year. Well, if it's a good song, it's a good song, you know? So it's like, it's good to have that material in the back, but it's good to also, like, like from what you're saying, okay, this is maybe not so good. Let's maybe go ahead and scrap this. So I should do it with every song off a released record or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it gets the doo-doo out of the way. Yeah.
Exactly. So with I had a really good question I was going to ask. Well, actually, let me say this first. I was saying this to you guys earlier, like, when I was introduced to you guys, because it's like, you're one of those bands that, like, your name just kept coming up on my show, and it was really, it was always with all these metal bands, you know, it'd be like, these Zaftig guys are really, they're prodigies, and I'm like, oh, that's badass, like, these are good. So, like, when you guys released the EP, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like, because I heard, like, someone was like, oh, they like psychedelic prog. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's going to be like an hour and 20-minute long EP with like 3 songs that are like an hour long each or whatever the hell, you know? So I pop it. I don't know why I said I pop it in like it's a CD, but you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there rocking and I'm like, it's cool. Oh, 4 minutes. Cool. Okay. Oh, 4 minutes. Okay. This is a part 1, part 2, part 3. Okay. So this is going to, they're each like 4 or 5. Oh, that's cool. And I dig that because it's not like I'm a fan of prog. So like I get down with like a 15-20 minute long song too, but like when you're, you know, first getting people into your sound, it's like you can't bomb, especially the normies. You know, you can't just bombard someone with a 15-minute long song. That's and be like, here you go.
That was the big thing about splitting Flight of the Mingos, like the track into 3, because we were wondering if we should just keep it an epic for the prog fans, but like when you're first establishing yourself, you really want to get as many people into it. Like if we were to have a strong fan base later, we wouldn't have to worry about that, right? I'd be so down to just drop like 20-minute fucking songs and
or like an hour and a half long song, like Sleep. Just like, here you go.
Here we go.
Here's Dope Smoker. Have a good one.
Yeah, we released it on the CDs that we have as just one track, so you can't.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
But on digital, like it just makes sense that like anyone who's trying to get introduced might not want to listen to an 11-minute song, and it gives you a chance to check out the other spots in that big long epic that we love so much. That
you split them up. It's okay. This is one part, and I dig that.
Yeah,
I think it was like a Mastodon where I first saw that, where like on Crack the Sky, where it's like. I don't remember the name of the song. It's like part 1, part 2, part 3, and I'm like, yo, that's cool. Everyone's like, it's the same song. I'm like, exactly. But it's 3 separate songs in one song.
Yeah.
It's like, that's badass. But like, the only thing I'm going to say, guys, if you listen to this, excuse me, if you listen to this on Spotify, do not have the crossover feature on, because it ruins the songs. Because I'm sitting there rocking, knowing it's going to fade into the next one really nicely, and then it like stopped, and then when I'm like, ow,
no. Yeah,
freaking Spotify. But walk me through the kind of like the recording process of that. Like I'm assuming it was it your, like you and Mark, was it your first time in the studio, you guys recording, or 'cause I know like Mike, I know you'd record a little bit before, but
anything professionally, that was the first real.
That was
studio.
definitely the most professional.
Because where did you guys record it? It was up in
Oshawa.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
That was a big jump from Keegan's basement. Shout out to fucking
Which
Keegan.
shouts to Keegan. He's a gem and he's a great producer. But yeah, of course, it's a big step.
Yeah. We went out there. It's in like Uxbridge, Pickering area, and we went up with Justin Melly, who did the Crownlands, their records and stuff.
So that's Crownlands.
Yeah.
Badass.
They're cool peeps. But Justin, he was the magician that made the records sound the way we wanted and then beyond. Like we even had Kevin actually from Crownlands came with a old Space Echo, a tape delay, and we did some weird stuff on like the end of the record with it, and we just had so much fun. So like it was like partly like taking it really seriously, and then partly just fucking around,
just having
and
fun,
playing with like weird gear that we never would have played with, like
it's
a
like,
Rhodes piano that we put through a nano pog, which just like detunes it and like brings it down like a lower octave, and it sounded like so cool that we like started putting it all throughout like the end of Flight of the Mingos.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little things that like even like I'm listening like, what the hell is that? How do they do that? Like
yeah, some of it would be impossible to replicate live, but it's a good journey.
I definitely learned to appreciate the way that this record was recorded, like just as psychedelic prog as a whole, like getting those weird sounds out of little tools and things, and being more analog about what you're doing instead of just like doing everything through a program.
Oh, hey, we can get this app on my phone that
Yeah,
like makes this
I got
noise.
this
It's
sim and
badass.
this patch and whatever.
It's like, no, man, like, how can you make this sound? How did Pink Floyd do it? How did... That's the only band I can think of right now off the top of my head for some reason. But, like, you think back to, like, bands that was doing it back in, like, the 60s and 70s. How did they get this kind of a sound?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just makes it more organic, too. It's just more alive.
Hearing that
It's
tape
not
hiss?
just, like, put through a computer.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of really cool stuff. We had like an old Echoplex too. Like we used it as like a preamp that it's like an old 1970s box that looks like it's falling apart. But no, like it's really cool when you can hear just like that weird tape hiss that you can hear on old records that you're like, it could be perfectly clean and like nice sounding, or you could have some like gritty
Dirty it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
something raw.
Yeah, that's something I was going to say about like the EP as a whole. Like it's kind of like someone would say, well, it's like it sounds kind of dirty. People are like, what do you mean? It's like, no, it's like you don't get that from beautifully, cleanly recorded guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
You got it's got a little bit of dirt on it, you know?
Yeah, no, it was I think we can like honestly say it was mostly Justin, Kevin that were responsible for really knowing like how to make everything sound the way it should, because we tried to record it ourselves when we first started and it sounded like dog shit. And then they took everything and made it beautiful. So yeah, shout out to them. They got our back.
Well, that's why you go to pros too. That's,
Fuck.
Definitely, for sure. So what as far as the track listing, for the EP. Kind of walk me through quickly kind of each song and what's how that song came to be and what it's maybe a little bit about what it's about even.
Crumbs is the first track. I don't remember when it was written, but it was it was just jamming around with like a few chords, but like I usually work on a DAW and write out some drum tracks and like do my best to like get a arc of a song where it's gonna start a little more tame, it's gonna have its peaks of like intensity or whatever. But so I usually try and work with different formats, and that song just worked out really easily, that it just came together really quickly musically. And then the lyrics, a lot of it, like almost all the lyrics on the album are just from scatting. You kind of just try and like see what you feel like doing over the music first, and then you kind of want to fit
Fill it in.
Yeah, and sometimes you literally just start with a word. And I saved the project file under Crumbs because it kind of reminded me of a King Gizzard song, Crumbling Castle. So I was like, just remember, like that's how I'm going to remember that file. And I just wrote the song after the file name, Crumbs. And it, like after so long, I remember that song as Crumbs. And and the lyrics sometimes don't have any meaning, but the second verse has a little more meaning of that it's enjoying the climb of anything that you're doing. And I think about it with music all the time with people. If you get any kind of success, you're going to bore yourself when you start playing stadiums for 10 years and there's nothing new to do. That I think it's the climb that you're going to remember the most of being in those little
Shout out to
bars.
Miley Cyrus.
Oh, fucking Miley. The climb.
All about the climb.
But yeah, so that's the first track for sure, Crumbs. Changes is the second track. And
It's a Bowie cover.
It's a slap.
Changes.
That song's a slap. That's my favorite song.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too on the EP. It's a badass song.
I love that song.
It was honestly a song that shouldn't have even been written. I was done writing songs. I was like, I have a lot of songs. I'm getting confused. Let's just stop writing songs. And I somehow was like, oh, fuck, this riff's kind of cool. I'll play with it. And I didn't put as much work as I think I did with other songs, but that song literally just worked so well as kind of a one riff song.
It is beautifully simple.
And that's what kind of like, I was so surprised that I was about to give up on songs like writing at that time. And something like Changes, that's like really simple, came out. That's a lot of fun to play live. But lyrically, it's simply just about changes. And
Beautifully simple.
yeah,
that's it.
Exactly. Just like the music, the lyrics are just about how that's going to be the one constant is change. Yep. And then I guess like we could go through the individual tracks of
And that's like this, the next three tracks technically are one big track that you guys split into three just for the sake of making it easier listening for some people.
Yeah.
It was recorded as one.
We recorded it all at once.
Yeah.
I guess that's good to point out.
Yeah.
But that track wasn't supposed to even be three songs, like be one song. They were three different songs individually, and then I was like, these songs are all in F sharp, and I kind of want to do something with it. It kind of just seems boring that these songs are just three
On
songs
their own,
that
kinda,
and I was like, they kind of could work together. And I just fucked around with a different order of the songs for a while, and it worked out that the songs actually work so well together that I can't imagine them being individuals anymore. That sometimes we'll play like part 2 and 3 and skip 1 or do something like that, but really they're a unit that we couldn't really play. Like I think part 3, but you could, I don't know, they're their own thing.
They do work well together, obviously. Like that's when they're best. If you can, like I was saying earlier, like when I took off a little CrossFit thing and sat and listened to all three of them in a row, I was like, hey, it's just one big awesome song. But then also, listening to the three of them individually, they're great songs. They're obviously, like you said, like they're all on so they have that similarity, but they're all just great songs on their own too.
And I think that's a huge thing if you're going to do any kind of concepts or long epics, that a huge thing is making something about it accessible. That like if you're going to do like an 11-minute song, that it could easily just have been a story that you would have to follow each 3 songs and know everything that's going on in the song, or you can just put on the middle song, have no idea it's part of an epic, and you enjoy that song and leave. But
it's almost like discovering this whole other side of the song when you hear all 3 of them in a row.
Yeah. There's more ways than one to listen to it, I guess.
Exactly. Which is definitely badass.
We're being joined by the kitty cat.
Felix.
Hey, kitty.
Fuck off.
We like kitties here on the Hodder Show, so it's okay. I'm a full-on cat dad, so we're...
Mixers, not as much.
Mixers, that thing's pretty... That thing's had beer spilt on it.
Oh, man.
She's pretty durable. But I'm curious, what exactly, and this could be a really stupid question, I have no idea, what exactly is Flight of the Mingos? What exactly, like, where did that come from? What is this? I'm curious.
I thought of it. It just kind of popped in one
I love
day.
how you said, I thought of it.
I thought of it. I was really high. And we were talking about flamingos. I think we just wanted the flamingo to be like our logo, kind of like our thing. And then I thought, like, if we're starting out, we might as well make it something about flamingos.
Make it
to
something,
kinda
yeah.
set that. And then I don't know how, but Flight of the Mingos, dude. Got super.
I don't know where it came from,
Yeah,
and then of course you have to shorten it to Mingos because that's just more.
Yeah. The songs were already written too, and we were like, oh, well, now with this new... we never had a title for the long 3-piece epic, and that's why Mike suggested that one, and we, like, realizing after, I was like, oh, it doesn't say Flight of the Mingos anywhere, it doesn't even mention a bird.
Doesn't say anything.
So I was like, okay, we need to, like, edit the lyrics a little bit, and, but... man, that was like a blessing in disguise. How much flamingo shit is everywhere, and like we got a little flamingo on our dashboard on the van, and like flamingo stuff everywhere. So everyone likes.
Who
a
doesn't
flamingo.
love a fucking flamingo?
Flamingos are metal. Just saying, like if it's something I refer to it as metal as
They're
being
everything.
redeemant, you know?
Flamingos can be whatever they want to be.
Flamingos can either be metal or they can be psychedelic or they can be folk. You know, it doesn't matter. They can be whatever you want. They can be ska. You know,
They definitely could.
oh
yeah.
for sure they can be. I think they're probably leaning more towards like ska and pop punk. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But
I'm gonna do a flamingo folk record. That'd be next.
do it. Well, with that hat you got, I kind of like if you were like, yeah, I'm also a folk artist. I'm like, yeah, I'd buy that. Yeah,
I can play a little harmonica.
a little harmonica.
So,
I can bend the 3-hole.
I can play a jaw harp too. So
Man, I was
do it.
sleeping and that shit popped up in the bed. Like literally, Bria was lying on it.
is it up there?
Yeah, it's in my bed.
I didn't even realize I
I
was
left
there.
it in my room. That was really annoying to wake up to. Fuck your jaw harp.
Jaw harp.
Jaw harp. For those who don't know, what is a jaw harp?
It's
It's the thing that goes boing boing.
yeah, it goes
Yeah.
like boing.
I say I know
like,
what it is, but
yeah.
most people don't know what
in
a
Oh,
a
jaw
lot
harp
of Western movie soundtracks,
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone soundtracks. It's in there. Yeah, it's a weird instrument.
weird little instrument to play. So that's badass about the record and that. But on the topic of like instruments and that, what's kind of your guys? I would like to ask if it's topical. What's because I'm a guitar guy. What kind of are you guys like playing right now? Like what's kind of run me through like your basic rig for when you're playing live?
It's a little bit much right now. I got
And there's gonna be more.
I love the hesitation.
There will be
He went-
more.
Just
Yeah.
the look on his face went from he was just like, oh shit, yeah, it's a
The
lot.
synths haven't even made it to the stage yet.
Yeah.
They'll get there. I want to get a lot of percussion too. We're gonna get a lot of weird, fun toys. Yeah.
For amps, I'm running a jazz chorus for my clean tones and a 1967 Bandmaster Fender for my dirt tones, and that goes into an ABY pedal just to split them, and then a nanopog, a bass wah, a distortion pedal just to drive my fuzz pedals harder, and I have 2 fuzz pedals now on my board. I have a Russian fuzz that I almost always have on, like it's going to be on the whole set, and then an Evil Fuzz by Death by Audio that's like a limited run of 200 that I just got, and it's like a crazy ass fuzz, so that one comes on now and then, but it just sounds like
you can't always run it because it's a lot. But
Yeah.
that Death by Audio stuff is great, but it's like, man,
Sometimes a little over the top.
yeah.
yeah, most definitely. But you know what, you need something to fucking blow up your amps now and then.
Oh, for sure.
And then I have like an ME80 that goes into, which has like a whole bunch of effects for delays and different stuff. And the one pedal that my my clean amp gets is a Mel 9 from Electro Harmonics.
Oh, nice.
And it replicates the sound of a Mellotron, which like the Moody Blues was always a big band that I loved, and King Crimson, of course, and the Beatles, and they all use Mellotron sounds. So the second I could have a Mellotron on my board, I'm fucking doing it.
Had to do it immediately.
Yeah. So that is what I'm doing for pedals and amps, but my guitar right now is just a good old Fender Strat with a hot rail in the bridge.
Nice.
And
can't beat those hot rails, man.
yeah, I actually believe it's a Damasio tone zone.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah. The tone zones are
Yeah.
So I used to work out with a DiMarzio dealer, so like I'm down with the DiMarzio stuff.
Yeah. No, and it's really good. I was so impressed when it got we put it in right before we went on for tour, and I didn't get to play it before, like at home or anything.
That's risky.
So when I went out for tour, I was playing. I was like, "Oh my fuck, this tone is amazing! It sounds like a lot better than."
I'd be scared to do that.
It was
just because like you go out there, next thing you know, it sucked. It's like,
that would have sucked. But I knew the guy. He was hooking me up. Good. We were cool. But that's it for my stuff. And when like the vocals, I have a delay from Boss that I use the SM57 and.
Okay, right on. And then when you use your flute, is it literally just right into your vocal mic, or is it like
right
a separate? So I don't know anything about flute, so I'm like.
No, it's right into the same 57. That's what's great about 57. Some sound guys don't like that I use that specific mic, but it's very. Like you can use it for anything, and like a lot of guitar amps you can mic with, but it's also good for capturing the flute, and so that works perfectly. And it goes into my vocal delay, so like I can just like have a lot of delay on the flute and make it sound like really ambient or whatever,
spacey ambient. Yeah, that's badass.
But that's all I'm using. That's my simple.
That's
little
it. Just a couple things, you know. What about you, Evan?
I play Epiphone T-Bird right now at the moment. Through a Mesa Boogie Subway D800 Plus amp, and I use a Turbo Rat for parts I use distortion on, and DD3, and I have a noise suppressor, and that's about it.
I'm not gonna lie. For a second, I was like, it'd be really funny if you were like, "Yeah, I just plug directly into the PA." After Mark's like, "There's that small penny that was like, please say you just plug into the PA." That'd be great.
Imagine.
You have no more
room
room
go
in the
DI,
van.
bro.
Yeah. Straight DI.
That's badass. Those Thunderbird basses too. They've got such a like. I don't know what it is about them. They have such a unique tone.
Yeah, they have their own.
But
Yeah, that's what's on the record is all T-Bird, all the bass tracks.
Badass. What kind of drums you running these days?
Oh boy. Well, like when I usually play, I don't put the rotos on. For this band, I have like a weird roto normal tom hybrid setup. Like I down tune my roto toms and flip them so the three become my rack.
Okay.
And then I have a low rack and usually just one floor tom. I have two though that I'm gonna try and bring out. And I use a lot of cymbals. Usually my minimum for when we play live is 2 crashes, a mini china, a stage bell, a ride, and a large china. But I got a stack on the way. I ordered a nice Mino 12-inch stack. I got another 2 chinas downstairs. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I'm getting all the stands.
And you want to add more too. You're talking about you want to add a bunch of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff I want to get. Like I got to get these wood blocks. I've been talking about wood blocks for time. I got a cowbell. I got to get a mount for.
The Octobands.
Yeah, the Octobands. Yeah. Oh, that's a need. Yeah, there's just too much stuff. The life of a drummer. And it's all so expensive, right?
Yeah. So. Well, it's all gears.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're doing with any kind of, even like with podcast stuff, for God's sake. I was saying earlier, like my mics are all so old now. It's like, I want to upgrade and it's like, man, like I just can't do it.
I would not have half my kit if it wasn't for financing at Long and McQuaid.
Yeah. Shout out to Long and McQuaid for their financing program.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
The fine people of Long and McQuaid.
I gotta go make a payment.
Speaking of which, Long and McQuaid, if you're listening, I'm making that payment tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I rock a Pearl Vision kit. That's my brand.
That's badass.
Yeah, I got it for free. So that was pretty fucking cool. Some guy from that church that I used to play at, I hadn't seen him in like years, at least 5 years. I didn't even know who he was when he showed up. I was home alone. he had like some missing teeth, and he's a little more bald than the last time I saw
you
him.
sure
Yeah.
he was from the church?
That's why I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then he's like,
Hey
oh,
man,
yeah.
you want a drum kit?
It's like, I think he used to babysit me. Or maybe it was his wife used to babysit me, or someone in their family. But he showed up. He's like, yeah, you're Mike. I'm Kevin. You probably don't remember me. Here's this drum kit. I was like, okay.
It's not stolen.
Yeah.
Wink.
Wink.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And then never saw him again after.
Holy
It's like
shit.
the fucking magician, the weird old wizard from Oshawa was like, here's a fucking drum kit.
He just disappears.
Vanishes, yeah.
Check it for crack.
You guys saw that guy too, man? Dude, we never saw that guy. I'm pretty sure you stole that kit, bro.
Yeah.
That's badass. And then I know you guys were, just guys, we get ready to wind down. I know you guys were talking a little bit about getting synths on stage maybe. Is that something you're kind of like maybe in the future you want to really try and bring in? Or because that's just like, that's a whole other level when you got to worry about like, it's one thing if your singer doesn't play guitar or something.
Yeah.
You can kind of, like I saw a band called Nothing More, who are badass, by the way, if you ever heard of them. And they have a lot of synth stuff, like they're like hard rock, so it's kind of weird at first, but like once you get into it, and they have this like their singer would like run to the other side of the stage, and here's this little like gimmick underneath like one of his stands, like you can't really see him doing it, but you see him down there like pressing stuff, and then they have this big huge like, it's something to behold. They have this big like, it's like on hydraulics, and it's like he goes up it, and there's all these like levers and stuff he pushes, and it like, because at first I was like, oh, it's just a gimmick. But then as I watched, I was like, no, like it's real time. Like this is an actual big synth thing they've created. And it's like, I was never a huge fan of it because I'm like, you can just run this stuff on tape, man. Like it's not a big deal. But now after seeing that, I'm like, yo, that's it's something to behold. So if there's any plans as far as like, you guys really trying to, you know, like you're gonna like be like, yo, Evan, you're gonna have to play the synth, man. While I'm playing,
that was
this guy's doing
That's what it is. Yeah.
This guy's playing flute and singing over here. It's like, all right, man, time that you're gonna drive the van and you're gonna play synth and bass.
Yeah, we have synths, and we wrote some songs that have synths in them. So
Yeah, some of those
sooner or
songs
later it's gonna
have
be
like distinct synth parts.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
have to-
so
like,
it's
if we're gonna
gonna
play it live, we
happen.
have to bring the synth.
And I think maybe both of us are gonna play synth.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Different
times,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
There's times
We'll
for
see.
everything. We'll get some loop.
We're gonna get an
pedals.
organ. We'll do some synth
We'll
organ
get some
stuff.
crazy shit. Yeah,
You
it's
know.
gonna get wild.
Maybe come off bass sometimes and just do bass on synth and stuff like that. But
Yeah, you just mess it all around, you know?
you know, synths are fun.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They're
with
really
having
pricey,
three
though,
people,
but-
Yeah,
right?
you almost need a guy just to play synth.
Yeah, exactly.
The auxiliary
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Just bring one of your cast and just like put them on the thing. And just let 'em
Like
walk
keyboard
around.
cat.
Yeah, keyboard cat.
But that's funny, like with prog, you sometimes get like small, weird numbers of people in the band, but the amount of gear is like twice the amount of any regular band. It's like, why does that guy have 1,000 different instruments? It's like, it's prog,
well,
bro.
Yeah, because you need all this stuff. You just keep picking stuff up.
Yeah.
And why don't you just get another band member? Hell, screw that.
Fuck that, that's more room, another dude to pay.
Yeah.
I gotta pay for all this financing. As long as what the fuck?
I can't play finance if I'm playing some guy to hit a bunch of buttons. Like,
Yeah.
screw that.
I'll hit those buttons.
You
thanks.
myself.
I can hit a button mighty fine, thank you.
That's fast. Well, something I always like to ask people as I kind of wrap up episodes, especially when I'm talking musicians and that, do you have like kind of either, depending on your point of view, a favorite show that you've ever played, or like just a show that was like just the worst, but it's funny looking back on?
The EP release was probably the best for me.
Yeah, that was a good
That
show.
went like as good as it could have gone. The place just packed, and
Yeah.
everyone was having a good time. We sold a lot of stuff. People loved the music. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was feeling it that night.
Yeah.
That was like one of the ones that you kind of, every time you play a show that's kind of like a little shittier, it can like hit you in a way. But when you play a really good show, it's always that great reminder of this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
It brings you so much joy. Yeah, that one probably I would say the same. I can't
I
think of
don't
another.
even know.
I don't know.
The
A lot
worst
of
show would be.
I don't know. A lot of our shows we played with really cool bands. So even if like the turnout was bad, at least we were playing with like Woolly Mantis or like Moontan. We played with
Blue Mantra.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All the best bands around.
Yeah.
They're
So,
all amazing.
Like even if
Millhouse.
the turnout wasn't good, we got to hear some like amazing music. And
That's
meet some
another
cool
big
people,
thing about
so-
being in a psychedelic band is when you go to shows and you're playing metal or you're playing like a very distinct genre, and like say you're opening but you don't want to leave and be that dick, you just got to hear the same stuff all night. Like sometimes there's cool sections and like they might have that one thing that stands out, but generally you're there to just listen to metal
it's
music.
like you're there if you're at a show that's like all metalcore and deathcore bands.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously there's unique twists on, you know, okay, well this guy sounds different than this guy. You know, this band's more technical, but at the end of the day, it's all distorted guitars and drums and someone screaming at you.
Yeah,
That's just,
this
you
band,
know.
the bands that we play with can be like crazy different. Like
Play
one
with
band will go
Skull.
out. Yeah,
With,
that Copper Crown.
Copper Crown.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
they just broke up.
Really?
Yeah, they're not a band anymore. But it's sick.
At least I have
ska
one of their
band.
shirts.
Yeah, I
so-
got a shirt too.
Yeah, they're cool.
Millhouse is like this crazy 2-piece synth drummer with no vocals. This guy does guitar and he's got all these crazy
Yeah.
pedals.
Yeah,
like
they're
Chon.
awesome, man. Check 'em out.
Super Chon kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they're all just
Possum
so.
was another really cool band to fuck around with.
Yeah.
Blue Mancha's like all jazzy and
Moontan and
Moontan's just pure
Amazing.
fucking crazy mayhem, awesome shit.
yeah, and Woolly Mantis. I love
Yeah,
Woolly
Woolly
Mantis.
Mantis.
All dudes from
They
that
might
band are
be-
sick. They're all
They might be my favorite
Yeah,
local band.
they're
Woolly
awesome,
Mantis.
yeah.
If not Blue Mantra, because I dig Blue Mantra, man. They're fucking awesome.
It's good shit.
Kaleidoscope Horse. We missed
Oh
that.
yeah,
Cali
fuck
Horse.
yeah,
Dude.
Wanna leave
Kaleidoscope
them
Horse.
out?
They're
Hot Garbage. We haven't played with them, but
it's been a little bit.
we met the dude from them.
Yeah, and all the metal
Hot Garbage.
bands
We
I've
haven't
Oh,
played
Hot
with them, but
Yeah.
we met the dude from.
All the metal bands.
all those metal bands, yeah. You know what? Shout out to Beguiler though, because they got some good shit coming.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to
that-
Stiv.
Yeah.
I love Stiv.
To Stiv.
Stiv's good.
He was
My
on your
boy.
show,
Yeah, my boy. I haven't
Stiv.
seen him in a minute. Stiv, what's up, buddy? He was like he was like the number one fan of my show for a long time. Every episode.
Stiv is
Yeah,
the
man.
number one fan of everything, and that's
He's
why
such a great dude.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
why
one of my
he's such a
favorite
good
interviews
guy.
I've ever done because because like he's such a nice, quiet kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he gonna like? And then he just like turned it on, and I was like, damn, okay, cool.
He was ready.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
It was badass. And of course, you know, I want to say for the sake of if anyone seems to misinterpret what Mike was talking about, just because I don't know why I feel like someone's going to, as far as talking about all metal bands.
Oh yeah, I'm talking the most shit about metal bands, but I play metal.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
I'm
So-
in metal bands.
And
it's
all
jokes.
you're
It's just
saying
fun.
is the difference between playing with a bunch of different style rock bands and playing with a bunch of bands that are in the similar genres. That's all he's saying. That's it. You know me. I like
talking shit. Get at me, son.
He's one of you. He's deep in, so he can criticize.
I'm in too deep in the
talk
metal.
shit, get shot, homie. I get down with body count, man. Don't even.
Yeah.
That's bad. So where can the good people find Zaftig if they want to check out your music? And I know we talked about it a little bit before, but
I just come to the house. No.
Come on over.
their address
Give
is
me our address.
yeah.
one
Jam
two
it
three Fake
downstairs.
Street.
Here's my SIN number.
Yeah.
Just give me a call.
Zaftig Music on Facebook and Instagram, and I think we're Bandcamp is like Zaftig.bandcamp. We don't have a website currently, but that's the
Spotify if you want to listen to
Yeah,
it.
just search
You-
Zaftig.
YouTube.
It's hard to find other things when you search up Zaftig.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah,
be there.
a good old
Maybe a Google
ZAFTIG.
Translate for what it means, but
Yeah.
So one last question before we go that I haven't asked the whole day and I've been wanting to ask. What exactly is Zaftig?
Yes!
What
I
the
knew
hell?
he was
What
gonna
is it?
say
What is
that.
it? Because I'm curious.
Big titty bitches.
that's not really what it
Not at all.
Big booty.
It's just well, it's derived from Yiddish that just literally meant juicy, but when English took it, it literally meant like a pleasantly plump lady. It's like a
Yes.
compliment for a woman.
That's rock and roll.
Yeah, it's thick with 2 C's with a couple hearts and a smiley face, you know?
And an eggplant. A big old eggplant.
Oh, fuck.
I would not have guessed. I thought it was like it'd be like, yeah. So anyway, when you're playing prog music, and I was not expecting that. That's rock and roll. That's badass. I like that.
No, yeah, it's all about just being juicy, you know?
Yeah, that's another thing is, like, when you're prog, you kind of have to be like that, where it's like, oh, yes.
Time signatures, yeah.
Yes, time signatures. I went to math class. Blah, 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 blah. But we
Algebra is
skipped
sick.
all that. We just kind of play prog, but it's got, like, pure rock.
But like, there's
feel.
rock elements.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, more
You just look at the
garagey,
name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where you kind of That's another thing. I love prog, but sometimes it's literally some guy stroking it and being like, "Oh, look how good I am."
Super stuck.
With
But-
the size of my guitar.
School. Yes.
But it's all about the
Knowledge.
energy and the vibe you get from music
Yeah.
and what it makes you feel. So
Yeah.
a little bit of both. You can do some wacky stuff that's fun for the musician, but also do something that, like, don't leave it that, like, you can't make a mistake. Because I feel like we can make mistakes and it's okay. Like, it's,
And where's the hooks? You know, I need a hook.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, if I turn on your song and it's 5 minutes of just noodling and bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying here? What are you, like, where's the hook? Where's the thing I can hum to myself? Where's the bumper sticker?
Yeah.
You know, where is that? Like, I need that. I need a riff. I need all that. And, like, you guys have that. So I'm hyped to hear the new stuff because that's going to be cool.
Oh, man, we're hyped to play it and we can't wait to get it out, man.
Beautiful. All right, well, boys, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure we'll talk to you guys again soon sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you,
yeah.
TJ.
All right, gang, so there you have it, my chat with the guys in Zaftig. Hope that you enjoyed it. Big shouts again to them for allowing me to come into their humble abode and doing this podcast with me. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that you had fun listening. And please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Leave the follow. It helps out this show a lot, and as this show grows and progresses, I'm able to, do more. I'm able to have more bands on. I'm really hoping with my move coming up that I can start really expanding my reach and having bands on that are not just in the area, but, bands from overseas, bands from the States, pretty much anywhere that I can find bands or people, not just bands, but, I've had pro wrestlers on the show. I've had different content creators on the show. I'm hoping that with a good internet connection, I will be able to expand my horizons more and also get back into doing more video podcasts because I know that those were well received when I did do them with Frankie and with Will from Rolls Royce, which you can check out on my YouTube, which if you have not, be sure to check that out. And wherever you're listening, again, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm one of the most widely available podcasts in the world. I truly stand by that statement. You can find me wherever you find your podcast. Newly, you can now find the Hodder Show on iHeartRadio. So if you happen to use the iHeartRadio app, you can find the Hodder Show on there absolutely free, as well as on the SoundCloud, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Castbox, Spotify, YouTube, Podcoin, which of course I gave a shout out to in the middle of the show here. They're a great app. That's the app I personally use. Again, I'm not blowing smoke. I really do use that app a lot, and it's free. So you guys should really download that app. You can also find the show on the website at podbeardnetwork.com/The Hodder Show. If you're listening on a device that you don't want to necessarily download any apps on, or you want just a really easy, seamless browser way to listen to the show, go on there and all 220 episodes of The Hodder Show are on there. And you can find me anywhere, man, honestly. And if there's an app that you use and you don't find me, let me know, and I will literally go as far as to make this podcast available just for you on that app if you want to listen. I am crazy, and I have done that before, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the iHeartRadio app actually came about for me, because I had one listener say, hey, man, I'd love to use you on this app, but I can't find you. So I made it happen, folks. That's just what we do here on The Hodder Show. I'm crazy. Some people say dedication. I'm like, no, I'm insane. I'm just absolutely insane. And you would be insane not to check out my friends in Zaftig. One more time, I want to give them a shout out. Be sure to check them out on the social media under Zaftig Music. I'll have all the links in the description below in this podcast or video or however you're listening. And check out their EP, Flight of the Mingos. It is a badass EP. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. And as they say, they got more cooking. So stay tuned for that and all future episodes of The Hodder Show. Again, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And if you want to support the show maybe a little more, and just listening and hitting that subscribe button, even that is all I need. And thank you so very much for that. That is the best way to support the show. If you want to help out a little bit financially, you can do that by going on patreon.com/The Hodder Show and joining my exclusive community on there. There's a $1, a $5, and $10 tier, all of which are different. I'm not going to go into it right now on this outro, but you'll get exclusive content that no one else is going to hear, things like live casts, things like different videos, especially once I move, folks, and I have better internet. I'm going to be doing way more stuff. I'm going to be doing way more live stuff. I've been thinking about doing, something on my morning commute to work, which could be fun. It could help pass the time on my morning commute. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would talk about, but, I've already thrown the idea around it, doing something fun. Even if it's just for Patreon or if it's just for YouTube or whatever, I don't know. But be sure to hit up the Patreon. Every dollar really helps. And if there is a way I can have like say $30 on Patreon monthly coming in, oh my goodness, guys, $30 a month is not a lot, but it would help out this show so much in the sense of cost, because it costs me $30 a month to do this show. Just being straight up about it, because that's how much it costs me to host the SoundCloud and then also to host the website, which is, at the end of the day, $30 is not a lot of money, and I'm happy to pay it to do the show because I thoroughly enjoy doing it. But that extra $30 a month, even though it's not a lot of money, I ain't rich. So, that $30 a month would really help with upgrading equipment for the show, travel expenses for me to go drive to Toronto or drive past Toronto or anything like that, or even out to Kingston or whatever. It really would help immensely. And, a couple people have said to me in the past, that's they would really love to support the show financially. And so I did this Patreon strictly for that. And if you're one of those people, it is live. Check it out right now. Or also keep an eye out for something I'm working on right now to do with merch for the Hodder Show. I'm very, very excited about that. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully, again, with this move happening, which I talked about a little bit last week, but I will be moving to a couple times over, so I'm very, very excited about that. But August is going to be a really hectic month, and I've thrown the idea around of taking a couple weeks off. I'm not 100% sure on that. Absolutely, I'll be taking at least 1 week off because I will not be in town, so I'm going to have to do that. But I don't know, we'll have to kind of see what happens, but I'm hoping at the end of August I will have this idea I have for some merch for the Hodder Show launched by then. So keep your ear to the ground for that. Hit the subscribe button, follow the Hodder Show on all the different social medias. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the Hodder Show. And hit me up anytime if you have any questions at thehoddershow@gmail.com. And I've rambled on enough, so I will see you next time on the Hodder Show. Take it easy, guys.